Records in Britain, home to pop babe Britney Spears, the Backstreet Boys and rapper Tupac Shakur.
They were signed for a one single deal. That meant this was their only song. It was a novelty record.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And that is what was going to be, you know, that was what they were going to have to work on over the next few months.
Show us your steps.
Okay, are you ready?
So they've started doing things like schools tours and things like that to get known.
At a time when the charts were dominated by either all-girl or all-boy bands, Steps were offering something fresh and new.
There isn't another girl-boy group from Britain at the moment, so I think we're quite proud of ourselves because we seem to be the first of a new generation.
Oh, Lisa.
Generation Next.
When Steps' first single came out, the band had been together for several months perfecting their act, yet they were just another aspiring pop group. But things were about to change with the release of their debut single, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Steps, as bands go, have been phenomenally successful worldwide, although maybe you wouldn't have thought so from how it started off for them. 5, 6, 7, 8 entered, I think, at 16 towards the end of '97, and it rapidly started to slide down the charts before creeping back up again over the Christmas period. I think quite a few people must have ended up with that in their stocking. And then for them from there it just kind of went up and up and up.
They came out with 5, 6, 7, 8 and everyone said, oh, that's it, it's going to be a one-hit wonder, but they've actually capitalised on the market, and I think they've got talent there. I think they've got 3 quite distinctive voices, and I think that's why they're more than a one-hit wonder, basically.
The next single, Last Thing on My Mind, which was a cover of a Bananarama song, only reached, I think, 67 in the charts for Bananarama some years earlier. For Steps, it was a top 10 smash. And then, of course, there was the record that everyone remembers, the Tragedy Heartbeat double A side, which was their first UK #1.
International chart success was one thing, but being formally recognised by the music industry was another. Steps had become one of Britain's most successful pop bands, and at the 1998 Brit Awards, the most prestigious music awards in the UK, they were widely tipped to be crowned Best Newcomers. But at the last moment, the award was given to little-known indie band Belle and Sebastian, causing speculation as to why this had happened.
Everyone thought Steps were going to get Best Newcomer Award for like the best new band in Britain. You know, and deservedly so, because, you know, they're a top group. But then this other band, Belle and Sebastian, won the award, and like everyone was like shocked because Belle and Sebastian have never been in the top 10, they've never had any #1s, they don't even dance.
Everybody I've spoken to said, who are Belle and Sebastian? Now, if they won this fair and square, that's what makes our industry great, that somebody so far left can do it. And I would uphold that decision 1,000%. What is being claimed by many people that were there on the night, there were people who claimed at that Brit ceremony that they had fixed the result. And that's what I want investigated.
Pete Waterman, who put Steps together, was really outraged and couldn't believe that his band, Steps, didn't win Best Newcomer Award, and like this other band did. So there was an inquiry and they looked into it and they discovered that Belle and Sebastian actually did get more votes than Steps.
In the press, Steps are constantly being compared to the legendary Swedish group ABBA. When the world first heard of ABBA in 1974, they had won the Eurovision Song Contest with an entry called Waterloo. This went to #1 around the world, plus top 10 in America. By the time ABBA split up, they had topped the British charts 9 times, had several top 10 hits in America and made 7 albums. And now it seems ABBA have been reborn in Steps.
I think the ABBA comparison for Steps is inevitable. With ABBA you had 4 people in the band, 2 girls, 2 boys. Okay, there's one more girl in Steps, but they sound similar. The intros to some of the songs, the general sound of them, they are like an ABBA for the 90s.
They are the ABBA of the 90s.
You know, we do sound a bit like ABBA, but we never set out to.
Maybe Steps didn't set out to be anything like ABBA, but it's not surprising that they've been compared to the Swedish legends. Their producer Pete Waterman is a self-confessed ABBA fan whose passion for their music runs deep.
Because my manager's well into ABBA and he knows everything there is to know about them.
Pete Waterman is very good at pop. I mean, he gave us Kylie, but I think with Steps, he's kind of learnt from the mistakes with Kylie and Jason, and it's a lot better. I'd say, so Pete Waterman is someone that's been doing this a long time, and looking at Steps, I'd say he's learnt from his mistakes, and he's now doing it better than he ever did.
We all grew up listening to Stock Aitken and Waterman, so it's quite an honour actually to be working with him again. Now he's on his own and he's doing the same, you know, with the 90s, he's still doing it.
He knows how to write 4 minutes of pop that's just going to drive everyone crazy and go straight to #1. That's a real skill. I mean, he might be working to formula, as his critics would say, but he's still got the vision to suss the right formula and then deliver. And he always delivers. I mean, with Steps, he's delivered again and again and again.
Ian Watkins grew up in an old mining town in the Rhondda Valley in South Wales. He came from a close-knit circle of friends and family, and at an early age was given the nickname of H. This stood for hyper, as the young Ian could never keep still for 1 minute. Even now, H is very energetic. Whether it's playing pranks on the other members or running riot in a studio, he's always up to something.
As far as our individual personality is concerned, I guess you have to start with H. I mean, he's not the whole group by any means, but he's probably the loudest. His nickname, H, comes from hyperactive. So he's always jumping around and trying to get your attention and is being very loud.
We can talk about us.
Hello everybody, I'm Ian. I try to sing.
You just try?
I try, well, people say I can do, but yeah, try.
H was a redcoat with Butlins, along with a guy called Stephen, who's a presenter on Children's ITV. And you know, again, he thought, I want to be doing something a bit different. He'd done summer seasons at Butlins, but for him, Steps was going to be something totally new.
Someone who remembers Ian Watkins in his early days as a valued member of the Butlins holiday camp in Minehead is his old Redcoat Entertainment's manager, Tony Cornell.
H always wanted to be a pop star. If he could have chosen his ideal profession, he would have said that he wanted to be a pop star, and it's a dream come true for the lad. He was always looking to see what was the hip and trendy bands, what the young bands were wearing, what they were doing, where they were touring. He wanted to be involved in the industry and put in a lot of hard work, sort of outside the redcoat hours of work, as it were, to ensure that he did succeed.
Even as a young kid, H wanted to be on stage and became a member of Spotlights, a local theatre company in the Rhondda Valley. Pat Evans is the director of the group and remembers H's boundless energy and enthusiasm.
He was a very, very lively young lad. Young, very young. And he was in a production of Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And he just was so lively that's how, you know, the H, the hyper, sort of came into his sort of being, and has latched onto him ever since. And I don't think to this day he's changed, as you can see when you do see him. He's exactly the same.
H was always a very determined character and gave his all to anything he put his mind to.
The last show that he actually performed with us, we were doing Barnum, and he was so insistent that he wanted to learn to do the unicycle, which apparently is one of the most difficult. And to be fair, he spent hours and hours and hours actually just trying to gain it, you know, to get there, and he did. And I said, well, whatever, you've put in so many hours, I have to put you on the stage, you've got to do it in some form or another, because he deserved it, you know, he really worked hard at it.
It wasn't long before H had outgrown the Rhondda Valley and needed to pursue a career in entertainment. H packed his bags to head to England and the bright lights of Butlins holiday camp in Minehead.
He then came and said that he was thinking of going into the holiday camp type of the theatre side of it, which is, you know, not the easiest of places to start, I don't suppose.
Butlins is well known for being a starting point for ambitious young people seeking a career in entertainment. Many British TV and music personalities have come from the Butlins training camp, and H wanted to be one of them. Tony Cornell remembers H's early days.
when we first spotted H, he was a barman down in a bar called Molly Malone's down in Minehead, and there was this energetic, hyperactive, over-the-top character who was always singing and dancing behind the bar. We suddenly realised that obviously he would have made the ideal candidate to become a redcoat, so we poached him from our colleagues on the bars department, and he started off as a children's representative. From there moved on into production shows and was one of the main character actors and dancers in some of the productions that